Hi everybody, and welcome to week 4 of our video series. Last week we talked about our emotions and how to manage them effectively. We also talked about recognizing emotions in other people as well. What's one of the ways we could recognize other people's emotions? That's right, their facial expressions, whether they're happy or angry or sad. So, those are the ways people communicate to us. And today we're going to learn about effective communication. So, for communication to effectively occur, there has to be a speaker and a listener. And that communication has to be understood by both parties. If the speaker is speaking in a different language than the receiver understands, is that an effective form of communication? No. However, if the speaker calls that person on a cell phone and leaves a voicemail, but the receiver hasn't listened to it yet, is that an effective form of communication? No, it isn't. However, is all forms of communication through words? Can there be other ways we communicate to others, such as our body language or our tonality? There are different ways people communicate. It's important to effectively communicate well, because if a message is not understood or received incorrectly, that leads to miscommunication. Consider the following example. Norman listened to a voicemail message from his grandmother while he was watching his favorite show on television. She wanted him to come over on Saturday to bake some carrot spinach biscuits. Awesome, Norman thought. I'll even bring a bag of carrots. As soon as Norman arrived, Grandma put the carrots in the refrigerator and immediately put him to work cleaning out her garage. After an hour of working, Norman asked Grandma, "When are we going to bake those carrot spinach biscuits you mentioned in your message?" "What? Bake carrot spinach biscuits?" Grandma asked. "Yes, that's what you said in your message." Norman replied, "No, I said for you to come take care of your unfinished business, Norman. You never finished the chores I paid you for last week," Grandma said. So what happened here between Norman and his grandmother? Well, there was a misunderstanding between Norman and his grandmother because Norman was distracted by watching television when he listened to that voicemail message his grandmother left him. Have you ever had a misunderstanding like Norman and his grandmother? So let's open our workbooks to page 11, titled Communicating Effectively, where we're going to practice effective forms of communication and receiving messages. In this exercise, it is the speaker's goal to deliver an effective form of communication, and the receiver's job to effectively listen to that form of communication. Both parties' responsibilities are to be understood. Both the speaker and the listener have an important job to play and the responsibility of making sure that the message is understood and received correctly. We are going to use the recipe for understanding on page 11 to learn about the effective forms of communication for both speakers and listeners. So what should the speaker do? The speaker should, of course, be heard, make sure that the listener can follow, and make sure who the intended audience is. Now, what is the listener's job in the conversation? The listener should focus on the speaker. The listener should also do their best job to understand the message and use effective forms of body language to show that they're focused on the speaker. So look at the ingredients in the pot. Distribute them to both the speaker and the listener accordingly. So which ingredient did you put for the speaker to make sure the listener can follow and understand correctly? That's right, to stay on topic. As a speaker, it's very important to stay on topic to avoid misunderstanding or confusion. It's very important for speakers to stay on topic. Not only does this avoid miscommunication and confusion, but a listener is able to follow along better if the points being made are direct. Which ingredient did you put in for the speaker to allow the listener to know who the speaker is speaking to? That's right, making eye contact. Excellent. Which ingredient did you put in for the listener to show that his or her body language shows interest in what the speaker has to say? That's right, to lean in. Which ingredient did you add so the listener knows exactly what the speaker is saying without any confusion? That's right, to ask clarifying questions. Finally, which ingredient did you put in for the listener so that he or she focuses only on the speaker? That's right, to avoid distractions. To be a good listener, try to focus on the speaker and minimize as many distractions as possible. It's always polite to give the speaker your undivided attention.